Good afternoon, everybody. It's time for March's State of the Garden, and it's been an interesting month. We've had some disasters. We've had some good things happen as well. Mostly bad things, but this is how it works when you're gardening. Things don't always go according to plan, and that's something that, ironically, you might want to plan for, or at least anticipate. Anyway, let's talk about the things that have gone not great. So the first thing that I would say that has gone not great has been my efforts at seed starting. I did a video a couple weeks ago, actually, covering the seed starting that needs to be done between 8 and 10 weeks, and this would include things like eggplants, peppers, asparagus, that sort of thing. And here are the eggplants, and as you can see, we have no germination. And we have some peppers and whatnot over there, and no germination there. My single seed challenge so far, Solanum atropurpureum, as you can see there, no germination. Then we're going to come over here. Please forgive the messy shed. And here are the other peppers and whatnot, and the actual asparagus. And as you can see, we have a few plants germinating. But things have not gone really according to plan here. We had a cold period where we had several days, even in the shed here, where the temperature dropped to high 30s, low 40s in the shed, which means it was good 15 to 20 degrees colder than that outside. And that, I think, impeded my seed germination efforts. Once things finally started warming up outside, that's when you start to see the plants germinating here. So these just came up in the last few days. I literally just took these off the, this one here, I literally just took off the heat mat today. So, and yes, they were on heat mats. As you can see, we'll go back over to the seed, or not seeds, but the germination station. So you can see, we have a heat mat. This one has a heat mat too. I can kind of see it over in the edge there. And then this one also has a heat mat for the single seed challenge. It just hasn't been enough. Mind you, here's one of the heaters for the shed. There's the other heater for the shed, and it's not been great. As you can see from the walls, it's not insulated except for where it is. This is a project I've got going on where I am insulating it, but it just takes some time, and I haven't had a lot of time. So anyway, it is my fervent hope now that we're going to have some days with warmer weather that these will start to germinate before the seeds go completely bad. It's only been a couple weeks, about 3. They should have germinated already. They're a good 6 to 7 days past their germination date. Well, for these anyway, not the single seed challenge. But not the Solanum atropurpureum, I should say. So I still have hope, because several of these I did not have more seeds for. So if I have to order more seeds and get a late start, I might not be growing these varieties this year. I might just have to go to the nursery and buy some plants. Speaking of plants that I bought from nurseries, we're going to go to another kind of quasi-disaster. We have 2 excellent-looking blueberry plants here. These are great. No problems there. They came early, which was a problem. And I actually was going to do a State of the Garden video earlier in the month. I actually went through, recorded everything, because at the time it was all doom and gloom for me. I was thinking, oh no, the asparagus arrived early, the strawberries arrived early, the raspberries arrived early, before any of the areas around here where I can get topsoil from are open. So I can't actually fill any of the garden beds that the asparagus was supposed to go into, that these blueberry bushes were supposed to go into, or that the strawberries were supposed to go into. The only thing I could plant out was raspberries, and the ground was frozen because it was 20 degrees outside, so I couldn't plant those out either. And in fact, in a box to my left, you can kind of see it right there, that box has 3 raspberries in it that I have to plant today. If I don't plant it today, I might as well just throw them out. So, things have been going not great. That said, I hooked up another light in here, threw the blueberries under it, and between the 2 lights, the blueberries and strawberries, I just bumped my camera stand, the blueberries and strawberries are doing well, I would say. Some of these strawberries look pretty good. I don't remember the varieties offhand. I'll cover that later. You're going to notice some of them don't look good. Now, this is a mixture. Well, these were all mixture of sources, but these were all purchased as bare root plants. So as you can see, the bigger ones are doing great, but the smaller ones, like this guy, I don't think this plant's going to make it, guys. I just watered stuff, so we're letting the moisture soak in still. Come over here. Bare root strawberries. I got a bunch that are growing. This is good. I have a bunch that aren't growing, which is not good. So we'll see how this plays out. Well, whatever. Too late now. I can always buy more and plant them out if I have to. Okay, let's go look at the other kind of quasi-disaster. So of course it's windy now. All right. Well, here's the next bit of disaster. We'll zoom in here. Alright, so as you can see, this is the rest of the bare root strawberry plants. I had to throw these out in the ground when I could, because I didn't have enough soil to do planting inside the shed at the time. Because again, these arrived drastically early. They look okay. They don't look as good as the ones in the shed do. With that said, the ones out here appear to be doing better overall than the ones in the shed, just from a survival rate though. So we'll see how this turns out. I didn't want to plant them in this bed, by the way. I was going to turn this into another a tomato bed, but now I can't. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these plants. I think once they grow, I might transplant them into the bed that I actually bought for this purpose. However, that bed I haven't even built yet because I can't get the nearly 2 cubic yards of dirt required to fill it. Well, I couldn't until this week. I could order it now, but it's supposed to rain here for the next week, and I don't want 10, because that's, well, not 10. I need a total of 8 cubic yards of stuff delivered, and that is a big pile of dirt, and I can't realistically do that if it's raining the whole time. Anyway, moving on. Gonna pan kind of slowly to the right here. So here is the other disaster I was sort of mentioning. You'll notice I've got a lot of dirt missing. And I have a lot of dirt missing because I had to fill one of these beds. See, unlike the strawberries, which are easily transplanted, asparagus crowns, once they take, you don't really want to disturb them. That's not great. So I ended up having to build the asparagus bed. And I built the asparagus bed while it was 25 degrees outside at 11:30 p.m. one day. So here it is, the asparagus bed. Now, I will do, I'll probably create a video about planting asparagus crowns. I wasn't going to originally, but I wasn't going to plant asparagus from crowns originally. I was just going to do the seed starting. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the asparagus bed, and it's about half planted-ish. The half that's planted is this chunk from like here that way. So we're going to see how this works. None of this is doing anything yet. It was cold, so we'll see. If nothing works, nothing works, and I'm going to be sad, but, you know, again, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes things just don't go as planned. So anyway, all that dirt from that bed that's missing is in this bed. This is not how I wanted to do this, but I didn't really have a choice. So anyway, there's the asparagus bed. That is the current state of that. This bed here, you're going to see a bunch of winter rye and my thoroughly dead Swiss chard, and which was supposed to be somewhat cold hardy, but as we can see, that was not the case. It died. There might be a little bit alive underneath all that. I'm just going to have to wreck all that out and move on with this bed. And then we have my little lavender over there, and I'm not sure if the lavender is alive or dead or what it's doing. We'll zoom in on that. There's my lavender plant. And as you can see, a bird has already come out and ripped the stupid tag out of the ground yet again. Hopefully the lavender is alive. If it's not, these are hard to get to germinate because they require extensive cold stratification. So if that's the case, I might just have to replace that plant with a plant from a nursery. Okay, and that's it for the disasters portion, really. We had some trouble with the strawberry plants. because we just, some of them just didn't do well when I planted them in the little pots. I still have hope for about half of them, so we'll see. And then we had the lavender that might be dead, the asparagus, which isn't doing anything yet, and the blueberry plants, which I have the beds for, but I can't fill, so, because I couldn't get the dirt yet. That probably won't be for another week and a half or so. It's got to not rain for several days so that I have time to actually come out and get rid of not get rid of, but move the dirt over. All right, here's one of the wins. This is probably the biggest win. This is the bed with the grandpa garlic in it. And unlike previously, where it wasn't coming up, look at this. It's not all doing fantastically because we keep having weird cold snaps after warm-up periods, but it's growing. The grandpa garlic is growing, the shallots are growing, and the elephant garlic's growing. We have representatives from all three. Now, I still don't know. The garlic itself, the grandpa garlic, has to be these bits on the left because these are much smaller. The ones on the right, though, that's going to be shallots and elephant garlic, and I don't know which is which off the top of my head, but everything is pretty much germinated. Like, all of it germinated, it looks like. Not germinated, but sprouted, I guess would be a better word in this case. This is growing from bulbs and not seeds, not germinating. But anyway, grandpa garlic. That is a success story. Let's see. For the rest of the garden, current state. Okay. You know, a lot of grass in the beds. That's winter rye. This is all for a chop and drop operation I'm going to be doing here. It's about time to do it. Just go through and cut all this down and just kind of come through with a shovel and just chop it off at just below ground level with the shovel, and then work it into the soil with a rake, and then you let it decompose in the dirt for a good, I don't know, month to 6 weeks, which we won't be planting outside here for at least another 6 weeks. Because the weather here is just very unstable, and it's going to go from 40s and 50 degree weather to 80s pretty quick once we actually get the chance. So we'll see. Moving over here, currants. The currants, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but the currants, yeah, okay, you can see it. It's not going to want to focus though. Hold on. Come on. Alright, well, you can't really see it very well, but there's little buds. Actually, if I pull back a little further, you can see it. Little buds all over the plants. These are going to go, from the looks of it, they're going to go gangbusters the moment they feel like it. I have a weed growing in there I'm going to have to pull. I'll do that soon. I'll be able to take this down shortly. I haven't actually seen a lot of squirrel damage since we removed the tree. That's what they get for destroying my garden last year. Okay. Moving on. We'll go take a look at the trees and the raspberries. All right. Trees. This is my Granny Smith apple tree. And it... There we go. Well, actually... Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so here we go. Granny Smith apple tree. It's looking okay. It's still mostly dormant. We've got a bit of bud swell. This tree looks like it's about ready to burst. It's not great. I haven't had a chance to do dormant oil spray or copper fungicide yet. It won't be as important this year because these have a few years before I expect any fruiting. So I'm not super worried about it or anything, but yeah. I need to get that done before bud break. I have a little bit of time still, it looks like. Alright, this is my Franklin cider apple tree. And this one is the one that got a little damaged when the main tree in the yard got removed. But if we take a close look here at the buds, no bud swell yet. This one's still pretty thoroughly sleeping, which is good. Fussy, crispy leaf. Anyway. Alright. And this is my Pink Lady apple tree. And again, evidence of maybe just a little bit of bud swell happening. This tree looks like it's going to explode with activity soon too. I'd really like to get the stuff sprayed while I have a chance, but again, it's supposed to rain for the next week, and you got to do it on a day where it's not too hot, not too cold, and isn't going to rain for a couple days. So that is not any time in the next 7 days, according to our forecast. I'm going to move over to the raspberry patch now. Here's the raspberry patch, and as you can see, not a whole lot of activity. Now, I did just come through here and snip everything down to ground level. Well, not quite everything. And the places with the different mulch is the places where I planted the new replacement plants to replace the ones that were damaged by squirrels last year. And it turns out, not just squirrels. When I was digging these holes, I found an extensive network of mole tunnels. So I'm not happy about that. Hopefully these will do better than the ones last year. I don't know if the moles actually contributed to the damage, but they were present, and that part's not great. So yeah, just kind of come over here. You can see not all of these are cut down. We'll go over to the one that I left a couple of the bigger ones still standing because we got no raspberries last year. These plants took a long time to establish because I think I was underwatering them. So anyway, as you can see, this is one of the raspberry varieties, and I don't know which variety this is because this came from a friend of a friend. But anyway, as you can see, this thing is ready to go. It's ready to just sprout, and it is a variety that will do some raspberries in the spring. Once those raspberries in the spring come out, they're going to get picked, and then these are going to get chopped to the ground. Because by then, new shoots will be coming out from the roots. And there's just a couple of them like that in here. Hopefully, by this time next month, we're going to have blueberries in the ground instead of in pots. You can see them, they're way over there. Right there. We'll have more things planted and ready to go. We'll have tomatoes sprouted. We'll have peppers, hopefully, sprouted. We'll see. Oh, and I haven't cleaned up the chives yet, actually, so let's go take a look at those. Chives. Again, if you have not grown chives before, these plants are virtually unkillable. They're great. They just live here. I fertilize them once in a blue moon, and I got to clean them up still. I'll probably end up doing that today, actually. Just remove a lot of that dead debris. And, yeah, these are great plants. So, anyway. Hopefully that was informative, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until we talk again. And unlike previously where it wasn't, oops,